Alex Ansary here. It is June 11th in the year 2017. In this video, we're going to talk about tribalism. You may notice I have sunglasses on as well as a hat. For those that are susceptible to subconscious clues and cues, people that respond to things like that without even knowing it, I have isolated the fact that I have eyes that indicate that my origins are in the East, as well as my curly hair that my regular viewers know is difficult to keep in line with the curls. So yes, the curls being a distraction. So I want to talk about tribalism, and it's all based on using Portland, Oregon, the city that I was born in. The city that I, a person of half of Afghan descent, the other Germanic, supposed progressive Portland, it no longer felt like home. And I became aware of tribalistic behavior within Portland culture a very long time ago. But as far as like Portland specific, not so much high school, but Portland tribalism. Oh, we're so cool. Oh, we're so open. Oh, we're so better than the rest of the people in the rest of the country. We're more progressive than them. And I noticed this early on. Right now you're seeing some of the more hardcore narcissistic versions of it with Antifa and others. They act like they have the moral ground. And yet they are still defining Middle Eastern humans as Muslims, like they're fighting Islamophobia, as if I'm a part of the Islamic race. It's not a race, it's a religion. The racism going on is beyond Islamophobia. So I've been observing tribalism and even its influence over female human sexuality. You know, there's tribal members, there's non-tribal members, there is normal human sexuality. Then there's the way that the media influences and demonizes people from certain parts of the planet. So we talk about the hipster apocalypse as one version of tribalism that I saw very well. And when I did see minorities or black men or others, it would be those that had conformed their personalities, right, to that of the group that includes politics. People that are minorities that operate outside the belief systems, right, of the tribal members are seen as, in my case, I was always described as, you know, a right-wing conspiracy theorist outside the box of that which the leftists, the supposed open-minded leftists, actually trusted. And I noticed how my views on certain things, activism, regarding 9/11, I mean, and just the stigmas that people have. I've asked myself for years, what is it with this demographic of Americans that has an issue just simply being curious as to why millions of people were removed from the planet? Why aren't there women protesting in an era of feminism and women's rights when we have an obvious genocide? Why do those women see those women as different? Tribalism. Tribalism. You can have a protest, 100 people because somebody was refused service because this, that, and the other, and yet you can have millions killed that don't look like them, and yet they're able to remain silent over this tribalism element. And they'll go ahead and say, no, 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 we're not affected by the media. We hate the media. But ultimately, it doesn't matter if they say that. If someone's hit with 100, 1,000, 10,000 messages that a certain demographic or a certain group on the planet, those men abuse women. It's just in their genetics. They're born that way. And then, you know, I wake up in a reality where, yeah, I look somewhat like my father, and my father had some abusive tendencies to my mother and myself. You look at the differences in character between myself and my father, and interests, and so many other things, and it's like a book could be written and will be written. And so it's like the things that people do as a result of tribalism to keep themselves safe, I associate it with their lower beast self. That beast woman, that beast man, that thinks that that's what life's all about, right? Going to the concert and having a good old time. And without people realizing, wait a minute, that feeling of ecstasy that you're getting, ecstasy from living in a city and going to a concert or going somewhere and you look around and everybody's from the same part of Europe as you and you feel good. Ah, Now, there's nothing saying about telling people to be guilty because they're white, or saying that being white is terrorism. That's BS that they're putting out there, I think, to take us away from having a real conversation. But are there people that prefer, right, because of their biological imperative, to stick with people that they perceive are just like them? Now, that doesn't mean that they are just like them. Perception is the key word. There's actually a reason why you see a certain number of people obsessed with bleaching their hair blonde. Ah, yes. And there's a subconscious effect that has. The blonde hair. Oh, look at that. Oh, he's so much more sexy. She's so much more sexy. Ooh. Maybe the brunette, dyes her hair extra black, a little bit of green here, a little bit of red here, a little bit of flare here. Going to use the alchemical process to be more human, to be more sexier than that which we were made naturally. As we play this game where we try to fit into this image instead of just feeling comfortable as we are. Yes, I said it. There's a number of people out there that have shown obsession with their physicality. And there's a number of people growing that place judgment on others that don't look like them. Look, I'm tired, right, of meeting people who are going to judge me for having a button shirt. It doesn't mean anything. $5 at the thrift store, I tell them. It doesn't mean anything. I'm not trying to put up some sort of... Don't try to throw up that crap on me because I'm not like you. I meet somebody, hey, I'm going to help you build... He's like, you don't know how to do anything with the outdoors. Why would you come up anywhere with a shirt that buttons down that way, intending to do work? That doesn't make any sense. Thank you for the judgment, sir. Thank you for the judgment, sir. A shirt means that much? And you're going to tell me people don't judge based on someone's name or skin tone, right? And see, that's also important to the tribalists, right? They'll sit there and they'll deny, because they're tribalistic leanings, because they're collectivist leanings, because they're not individual, and they don't want to be called racist, but they feel some allegiance to their tribe. So no, my tribal members, and these others that I perceive are my tribal members, are people more like me than you. They're not doing this. They're not thinking this. They're not confusing ethnicity for race. You're crazy. You're unstable. You're delusional. You're paranoid. You over there, me, mine, and her, and over here. Tribalism. I'm going to read you a few things about tribalism briefly from this webpage that I found, and I thought that it had some good points, even if it came from a religious website. I think the point of that is, not all people with an interest in religion are racist. Some people are literally talking about real kinship, as I am, being of the spirit. And a lot of people's tribalistic leanings haven't been whether or not the people you're around associate with having a soul or not. I associate with having a soul. I've seen many tribalistic leanings and similar interests in groups like Portland, where Satanism is popular, pentagrams are popular, nihilism, believing that nothing has meaning, and that those that believe that they have the knowledge, oh, they're the enemy. Those that believe they have the gnosis, ooh, people like Alex Ansary, banish, exile, different. And see, it's beyond white supremacy, dovetailing as tribalism, as I've said, which keeps me away from racism myself, as I charge my father's family of the supposed pure Ansary bloodline, right, with tribalism themselves, ethnocentric behavior themselves, hypocritical behavior themselves, behaviors, people like my father, things of that nature. Oh, you're not going to tell me that you're an actual real Muslim based on the behavior that I've seen. I wonder what kind of measuring stick you have. So they have their own punishment system, just like their white counterparts in Portland. If you're not like us, right, if you don't think Portland's super progressive, if you don't think that we're better from the rest of the nation, if you can't keep your criticisms to yourself, you're a non-tribal member. You're different. And literally, by the way, you were born different. Dead insult to injury. We don't have an invite to the party for you, even though we're a town that supposedly is all open and we party all the time. And then back to the Muslims engaging in a practice of tribalism, which they should not do when they are the enemy. Oh, that Alex Ansary, he's too Americanized. He's not a Muslim. He doesn't respect his father. And then you literally have an actual occupation of Afghanistan where you have your own tribal members because they look more like you, because they speak your language, because you all have the same religion. They actually are involved in killing Afghans by helping the invader, but they're part of your tribe. A non-tribal member like myself that shares your same last name, I'm not worth considering one of yours because my values are different. And I'm half Anglo. Not quite a part of your tribe, but if certain factors were a certain way, you know, perhaps those things could be overlooked. Put on the shades now more often as I go through society. I understand that whether someone's Hispanic, whether they're white, whether they're black, Asians don't really stare at me or give me the look. But people know in their eyes, because they're using their biological imperative that they think is the core to survival, because they choose to not evolve their own consciousness, they understand that I'm a non-tribal member. And thus, I live that way as a non-tribal member. Everywhere that I've lived, everywhere that I've gone, as I sit here on my 1-acre property in southwest Colorado, at least something that I'll own in a few years, I won't have to go through the urban survival apocalypse that some people may be going through in the next few years. The benefits of not being considered a part of someone's tribe is there's that many women and men and people that I don't have to worry about at all. No matter what happens on Earth, asteroid strike, full-on invasion, whole groups of people disappearing, doesn't matter how many hundreds of thousands have watched my videos in silence, for their own entertainment, for their own education. Those people that I can actually recall that have actually been my friends, that have actually contacted me in my darkest days. Alex, we've never forgotten about you. Alex, we wonder how you're doing. Alex, we wonder how you've been. Alex, some of the perceptions that you have, you've got it all wrong. You know, you've always been our hearts, our prayers. We've thought of you like family. Only when I was there entertaining them on a weekly basis. Same time, same channel. It was really just part of the simulated, he's giving something to us. Again, when I was doing a show on Access TV, and then I moved on and saw more of what the real world was like, the light side and the dark side, part of the light side revelation. The world is not as in the dark ages as Portlanders would have you believe. Members of the Portlandia cult. That's the only place to live. That's the only place of progressiveness. No, that's actually a place of pain and suffering. While people will insult non-tribal members that have an insight to the spiritual sickness that Joseph Christian was suffering from. A spiritual sickness. Something that actually lives in Portland. Something that actually lives in other urban areas. The illusions of separation is absolutely necessary for someone to seek the tribalistic experience, to where their ecstasy is going to come from that PBR party, where people are listening to the same music and associating, you know, with the same cliques, and associating with the same movements, and associating with the same language, and associating with the same, in some cases, degenerate behavior, and excluding people that are different simply because they're different. They may not have done anything wrong. It may not be racism on the cover, but it absolutely is a form of punishment to those that are different. Okay, let me read this. Racism and tribalism. Leviticus 19:34. And when a stranger is dwelling with you in your land, you will not mistreat him. The stranger shall become for you for like one born among you, the stranger with you, and you shall love him like yourself, because ye strangers are in the land of Mitzrayim. And so, you know, when I saw these new people moving into Portland, mostly white, and me mostly tan, being from Portland, it didn't matter that I was local. I realized what was going on. It was a movement of soft white supremacy called tribalism. They're going in a movement, and they come with hula hoops, and people come with their peace and love. But it's really about remaking image the image of Portland, other places, in the image of their tribe. It's all friendly, it's all fun and games, but it's all based in having a society of people that think, act, dance, laugh, joke just like them. The clique, like high school, but on a urban, sociological, social engineering, larger scale, with shows like Portlandia and other things to catapult the movement in an unnatural way. Instead of movements coming naturally, organically, I mean, we see technology driving so much, not just overt racism coming from the right, but a covert tribalism and racism coming from the left in the hipster apocalypse, rendering communities unrecognizable 10 years later, 15 years later. You get beyond the ice cream sign and how great that seems to be. You know, you get behind the beyond the espresso sign. You get beyond the, oh, so-and-so's coming to play. Oh my God, another celebrity, another archetype on stage. Oh, play for us, Pied Piper, play for us. And seeing that concert experience and the grieving when a celebrity dies is alien behavior to me. That is just like really like entrenched into some of this tribalistic false spirituality, false mindset. When people cry more for a celebrity that entertained them in their youth than they do for people that have been violently removed from the planet. So this article gets into what is racism, because again, I've also separated racism, which is overt, versus tribalism, and they write the following. Tribalism is the cohesion of people into groups on the basis of common characteristics. Okay, that would include being ignorant regarding what's going on with the global situation. That would include excluding people that are called conspiracy theorists, thus excluding people that are actually trying to highlight racism, countries and people in countries being set up, being accused of terror attacks they never committed, and that being used to execute millions of people. I'll just call them a conspiracy theorist. They're not a part of our tribe. This is a very general definition, and as you can see, it applies to many kinds of groups in this world. How is racism a fruit of tribalism? Because if someone is not accepted by any particular such group, they are excluded by that group from enjoying their privileges. In the case of racism, this means this discrimination is applied to groups of people according to race, and going back in history, a race is just another word for a tribe. So in this groupism, tribalism continues by rewarding its followers and punishing its non-followers. Okay. Again, think Portland. Think the people that have moved into Portland. Think about the Portlandia culture. You can study this by being a non-Portlander, by Googling past videos of mine, watching Portlandia on something, and then you'll go, oh my God, Alex came from that, and you'll understand. And see, nothing makes this group angrier, the Portland crowd, than discussing the fact that it's not as progressive as it claims. It is an attempt to correct me. It is an attempt to show me love or another way. Like they know what I'm saying is true. Or what I'm saying is so new, instead of listen to it with an open mind, they reject it and they say, as they said in the past, oh, he's not a real Portlander. That's just like the right saying, I'm not a real American. He's not here anymore. He doesn't have a right to have an opinion. He's hating on Portland. Oh, just omitting all of things that I've discussed in the past regarding environmental degradation in Portland, the beautiful Portland that once was, and the things that the plutocracy that founded Portland and created the Shanghai tunnels. And I created an episode about the Shanghai tunnels. I've talked about the ghosts of Portland. I've talked about the portals of Portland, the highs and the lows. Why are so many drawn there? Why are so many stuck there? It's the portals of Portland. That which people feed on, the city and its energy, are fed on as well. And to join the group in question, candidate for acceptance is encouraged to participate in particular behaviors. Binge drinking, vintage video games, vintage clothing so you can identify your fellow tribal member. Of course, mostly white. But if you are of an ethnicity, usually female, if it's from the East or the Middle East, African Americans are accepted into some hipster cultures. Granted, their behavior and their fashions do conform in some way, shape. In general, males of Middle Eastern origin that are independent thinkers, which is, I guess, the box that you can put me in, even though my mother is white, doesn't matter, I'm a non-tribal member. This is what's king. The melatonin, the attitudes, the opinions. If it's not something that can be assimilated into something at a Rainbow Family Gathering, which I went to once in 2011, never had so many eyes on me looking at me like I was a cop. That's the automatic way the tribal is. If they're not associated with racism, will find a way to put me into a box. Oh, he's on TV because he's trying to be somebody. Oh, he's an FBI informant. He's trying to lead us astray. He's not calling for... They won't know why they suspect me of being a shill. They just know they suspect me. Gee, I wonder what could it be? What could it be? What could it be? Here, let me make you feel a little bit more comfortable as you watch this. Hell, if you're going to call me fucking FBI fucking G-Man, might as well look a little more like it, right? But hey, on that note, I'll probably with the sunglasses look like more John O. Appleseed, right? Maybe then the message will get through. Hey, I look at videos that I put on my own channel where the people there look more just like you. Oh, 3,000 views. Ooh, 5,000 views. Hey, I should have more white people on my channel. It would do really good. Can you imagine the thousands of dollars that I would bring in every single month? You know what? Just imagine right here, a pretty white girl who's giving her version of things, right? All young and looking the right way. And ooh, we're going to talk about a collective shift in consciousness. Everything's just got to work itself out. Tell people what they want to hear. It doesn't matter whether it's true, whether it's wrong. Tell people what they want to hear, or be called negative. I'll show you what, I'll make a video, I'll get 10,000 views. I'll get 100,000 views. Oh, there's that other video, I'm back in Costia County. Type in video, Costia County native shares why he's here. I'll do 100 videos on Costia County, 100 views, 300 views, or whatever, right? I'm just using an example. I know a lot of videos have a lot of views. Here we have this guy with a big old red beard. Looks like your average Portlander. He's on Hawthorne. He's a hipster. Like, boom. 500,000 views or something to that effect. Several 100,000 views. I mean, I captured the Marlboro Man for the hipsters, for the younger generation, right? Exiting wherever they came from to go to Portland or go off grid. And it's like, oh, I just captured an icon of America. People, and I hit the heartstrings. I'll hit the heartstrings. No matter now, I'm in my second decade of discussing millions of dead Afghanis and Iraqis, people in general that don't look like you but look more like me. And I'm not hitting your heartstrings. And I'm not getting your support. The promotion of characteristic group behaviors is continuing shamelessly in society. That admitting it also promotes the exclusion of others outside the defined group. Some groups think it's fine as long as everyone has equal opportunity to join them, but some groups require characteristics impossible to acquire from free will, like having the right color parents. Yet be aware that types of groups practicing tribalism may not only be based on tribal lineage or skin color, it can be political parties, country of origin, geographical region, religion, fraternities, sororities, secret societies, sports fans, gangs, bikers, occupations, nationalism, hobbyists, collectors of objects, organized crime, various other kinds of groups which demand allegiance and following. Fellowship. So I guess I thought it was a part of the fellowship of the alternative media. But because the tribalism, right, in a primarily dominated white alternative media, with the few blacks, Democrat, others, they're batting for the Trump machine. Because you're always going to have those minorities on the left and right that conform to what Masta wants. Okay, you have a left Uncle Tom, you have a right Uncle Tom, and they're going along with the tribalistic groups because they want to be somebody in their world. They want to be somebody to the whites. They want to be somebody to the whites. Here's some more hair dye. Make it extra blonde. Go for 3 rinses this time. Go for 3 rinses this time. And don't forget to shave off your thick eyebrows while you're at it. You're being negative. That's why we felt, oh, you're actually saying something about it. Looks like we've got somebody with the voice. We'll blame it on that. It's your voice. It's the fact you're piping up. Yeah, it's your attitude. It's not... Okay, fine. I just got Alex Ansary has to create his own tribe. And that'll do on a loose level, on an unorganized level. I think that there needs to be unity amongst those that have found themselves rejected. Maybe those of mixed race that have found themselves rejected by supposed white progressives. Maybe people of Middle Eastern origin that aren't Muslims, that aren't having the left or anyone go to bat for them, right? Using Islamophobia as a political weapon, not addressing the real minorities, American-born, non-Muslim, not white enough to fit in to today's tribalistic societies. As said before, this renders blacks, Hispanics, not as minority groups, but as sub-majority groups to the white hierarchy. Now, with an influx of other immigrants from other countries, other groups see themselves as better than them because they've been taught that there is this superiority. So the last thing they want to be at the bottom of the barrel, blacks or Hispanics. We're not at the bottom of the barrel. No, you're not. No one is. But instead of you having an evolution, you're excited you got the new niggas that point your guns at as U.S. servicemen and cops. As you go overseas or as you police America's streets. Ooh, Saeed, that's a strange name. I'm going to fuck with you. Since I feel like my people's been fucked with, I'm going to fuck with somebody else. Tribalism. It's not limited to white supremacy. And then you have like an over focus on racial supremacy. What about a tribalism where a whole society points their fucking finger at this other group of humans? You have a tribalism based around that. Oh, it's the victimized whites, Hispanics, blacks, and Asians that believe that this group over here is a part of a 9/11 conspiracy. Conspiracy theory on 9/11 aside, sticking with the official story of 9/11, it came out of Saudi Arabia. The Afghans were held hostage. Here's where the money came. Here are the hijackers. Here's the $250,000 wire transfer to Muhammad Atta from Pakistan. No. Now you're starting to sound like a conspiracy theorist. No, I sound like someone who's thinking, who's not so tribalistic. I'm not going to look at those millions dead and go, well, it's millions dead. What are you going to do about it? It's their karma. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We're in the golden age. It's the age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius. If only had some hot chick pants and some hula hoops to play with. I'll just sit here and just, oh, we're conscious. Oh, we're going to the festival 2017. It's activation time. Oh, me and my sisters are coming. We're going to do a ritual and we're going to activate something. Oh, it felt so good. I was there and we had the paint on. We were with all my tribal members. Yeah. And it's like, I'm watching animalism. I'm not watching spiritual women. I'm watching the modern barbarians. You think you're and you're loving and you're having a great time and you've excluded all these people that don't look like everybody's crazy. You're having a good time. It's a movement based on your victory over the material world, shaping Portland in your image. Oh, you're having a good time now. You're having a good time now at the expenses of others. And the natives of Portland, the people that live there, the people that were born there, Freedom. Freedom was one of the founding principles of the U.S., of course, despite the racism, despite the slavery, but people also want to knock down the good things of this country as they participate in the controlled chaos. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This means that the founding fathers believed in individualism, not considering the tribal ties to England and its alliance. Allegiance demanded their king. Here, let me get a little bit more tribal for you. Hide some of the non-tribal features. Alright, let's start all over again. Hey, I'm just a regular guy, folks. No need to be threatened. No barbarian coming over the wall. This means the U.S. founding fathers believed in individualism, not considering the tribal ties to England and its allegiance demanded their king to take priority over freedom. Individualism is the right of an individual to think differently and to search independently for truth, to pursue happiness while not being deprived of their life or liberty by reproaches made by groups and their enforcing groupist agents. And that Declaration of Independence said that governments are made to permit and enforce this freedom. And in this very line admits that Yahweh, our Creator, approves of our free will and thus individualism. When we follow Him, we do so out of our free will, because for certain He will lead us to life, liberty, and happiness. These concepts are the reason that the U.S. became a melting pot for all the oppressed people from all over the world to migrate there, seeking this freedom from their group's oppression to be released as individuals, to practice their own individuality, which, as we mentioned, when such a person becomes more oriented as to what direction to go, we will seek to have a good relationship and peace with Yahweh. Scripture says each individual works out their own salvation with fear and trembling. Therefore, it is opposite to the founding principles of the melting pot in the U.S. that people should therefore gather into groups and practice the same oppression against one another. But step back and look at the bigger picture. Groupism goes against the individualism intended for us because He gives us freedom and free will to choose to follow Him to life, liberty, and happiness, or freedom and free will to defer and learn by suffering the bad consequences of not following Him. And I understand that these videos are a bit too much for some people that are just choosing to be offended by the fact that I'm trying to encourage higher consciousness for all. But I am convinced that this video is going to reach the right men and women that I intend to reach. And this video is being made for them, as well as the others that I would encourage to look at things beyond their little box of what they level progressive. I'm Alex Ansary, sign off now for June 11th, 2017.